Okay, so thank you for coming today.
Yeah, thank
today
you
we
for
have a
having me.
guest. Do you want to introduce yourself, or should I introduce yourself? Or should I introduce you?
Yeah, sure. What do you have to say?
That's true. Maybe Guðrún, right?
Yeah.
You're living in Iceland and Japan.
Yeah.
Like dual life.
Yeah, kind of right now,
Like
yes.
half year, half year.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask about it too. It's gonna be interesting. I think from outside,
Yeah.
it's amazing. I mean, I think a lot of people want to do like live
Yeah.
in two different countries.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But I'm sure there are a lot of like
Complications.
Complications.
Yeah,
and you need
sure.
to face a lot of realities.
Yeah.
So maybe we can talk about it too. But
yeah,
do you want to
yeah.
add something else?
Yeah, I'm living between Kyoto and Iceland. So
Yes.
Garðabær actually. Another very cool name to say. Yeah.
Garðabær.
Like yeah, and then I have a little shop in Iceland, and that's my main job.
Yes.
And
What
I
is it
do
called?
Nakano, after the neighborhood in Tokyo where I used to live. Yeah. And then I also teaching sometimes, and then
What do you teach?
Japanese culture.
Japanese culture.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're discussing just like basic things, differences between the two countries, and about
Perfect topic. Okay.
Yeah, okay,
But
yeah.
what kind? Okay, I'm curious. Like from your perspective, what do you teach in Japanese culture in Iceland?
right, yeah.
Probably you guys know more than the Japanese native.
No, I just think it's like we teach from an outside perspective.
Okay.
So for example, Icelandic people maybe are not very, or like people living in Iceland are not knowledgeable about, for example, religion in Japan. And I think that's very important to understand.
That's interesting.
Yeah. And like
I always like try to. I usually don't know how to explain well. But
Right.
how would you explain like the Japanese religion?
So like for example, for Icelandic people, we always think that you're just one religion. So for people to think that people participate in Buddhist ceremonies and
Yes.
Shinto ceremonies is very strange. And that you would also maybe do like a wedding in a Christian kind of style. That's
Yeah.
also quite unique. So we kind of discuss like why it's just a different mindset, and then also just to not be too judgmental on a different culture, kind of
Okay.
just seeing it from their perspective, their history, and this kind of thing. So.
Okay.
Yeah, and then education system and
Wow.
like life events in Japan.
What
and,
kind of life events?
Like for example, just the other day was that when you turn 18 or 20, you go back to your hometown and have
Coming
a
of age day?
coming of age day, for example.
I'm not sure it's 18 or 20.
Yeah, they just
but
changed it, so I should know. I'm a really bad teacher. These kind of things I just check before class.
I think at least it was 20 for me.
Yeah. Okay. So maybe it's 18 now.
Maybe not, I'm not
Yeah. So we discussed like that, and like family combinations and this kind of thing. Yeah, just everything. Yeah.
sure. Everything.
Also like manga, anime. These kids are interested in that these days, so try to talk about that as well.
So what kind of things like do students wanna know the most?
About Japan.
Or they
They're
have
very-
questions?
I think they're very curious about like young people, like the people their age maybe.
Okay.
And like
How
how
old are
they are
they?
living. They are from
Around
like
20?
19 to 65. The students in Iceland. It's very different from when I was teaching in Japan. Yeah.
Okay, so then, but like, okay, they're all interested in Japan.
Yeah,
or
they
Japanese
love
culture.
Japanese culture. Yeah.
And
We
they-
had like 40
okay.
students this year. Exactly.
Wow, 40
So that's
students.
quite a lot for Iceland. It's so small. I mean.
That's
Yeah.
a lot, yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot, yeah. So maybe 30 of them were like in their like 20s, 20 something, and then the other were 30 plus. Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So sometimes I'm younger than the students. So that's always fun to have like different voices, you know.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Is it like how do you feel like? But okay, I want to ask you about. Okay, like later, probably I'm gonna ask you general things
Yeah, sure.
about Iceland, like because
People want to know.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
interesting.
to
And
know.
also I want to know too. Like one of them is like a name
Yeah.
thing or calling someone.
Ah, right.
because
Yeah.
You guys don't have kind of family name.
Right.
And in
like,
Japan,
yeah,
we say like family name, right? Family name, son,
sensei or like
sensei.
son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you don't really say even like to president or prime minister, whatever
Yeah.
teacher. Would you call them like their first name, right?
Ah,
It's different?
Yeah. If we would meet the president, we would like address them carefully with respect, but we would probably say the
name?
The name, I think, first name, yeah.
Okay.
That's interesting, right?
Okay. But is it how would you say that? Is it like
Fru, we would like add the, fru or herra, do you know that?
no?
Like,
it's
no.
like a mister?
Yeah, kind of, mister, yeah.
Okay, so you have that. Okay.
Yeah, I think if we meet the president, I think you would.
Okay, what about sensei, teacher?
No, you wouldn't, yeah.
Professor, what?
No, that would be strange.
That'd be strange.
Or like kind of strange feeling, yeah.
What about like boss? If you work at some places.
No, not at all.
So wait, it would not
No,
mean
so
you're
just
saying the first name, right?
Yeah, you just would say the first name, yeah.
That's very interesting, I think.
But like maybe if that person would have two names, you would call them like both names at the same time or something. But just, like I'm Guðrún Helga, and then you would be like, no, but no, you wouldn't do that. No, you wouldn't do that.
So usually people have like first name, middle name.
It's common,
call
yeah.
The middle
Yeah,
name
I think so.
Okay, and then
common.
family name.
Yeah.
But also like, okay, I want to move I want to talk about a lot of things, but like family name, it's kind of like so unique.
Yeah, right.
It's someone's son or someone's daughter.
Yeah.
Right? And then I always have a question, like when you're going abroad, you guys have a different name, different family name, but you're going the family trip to somewhere else.
Yeah.
How do you prove that you guys are on family or together?
So like it's easy when we're all Icelandic, because then people are just like, okay, these names are just all mixed up, so it's okay.
They don't really, okay, they
but
can't tell you guys are family or not, right?
They just have to believe it, right?
Yeah, true.
Look up, yeah.
Yeah.
But I have troubles, like if you, because my son has a family name, right? But I don't have that family name, because it's my husband's family name, right? So they're always like, that's confusing too.
Even in Iceland or in Japan?
Like in Iceland, no problem at all.
No problem,
But in abroad, I think when we're traveling, sometimes it's like, they would just add my son and husband family name to me, even though it's like, I don't have it. But I think it's okay. I'm used to it, so I'm born into it.
It's okay, but like it's very interesting because in Japan we have a family name, right? So that's kind of like how we
figure
out
family,
the families together. Things.
But that's exactly what I'm teaching in our class, is about the Japanese family system and how you belong to like a house, right? When you do a family registration at your government, then you belong under the same kind of family tree, right? Kind of. And then on the front of your house, you would have like the family name, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and then it's like, oh, it's this family's house and like this family, right?
Yes.
But in Iceland, it's just all the names written. So.
Is it like including family and family? Oh, just first name?
No, just all name. Yeah, full name. Because like, for example, I have the most common name in Iceland, Guðrún, right? Okay. So there's a high possibility there are many people with my name or my name combination. Yes. So maybe in this, so I live in an apartment block, right? There are many Guðrún Helga. That's why we need to have the full name. Okay.
But like, again, like I have another question, but like even though your family name, because if your family name can be very common too. Right. Just like then, so your full name. Oh wow, yeah. But like, have you ever met like this someone who has this completely the same name? No, I haven't. But I have met a lot of women with the same first and middle name. Oh, and that's why that's interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So when I was 17, I started my first job. Yes. There was another Guðrún Helga, and she's a great girl. And then we didn't look similar or anything, so that was okay. But then my boss was like, "Okay, she's Guðrún Helga. Can I just call you Helga?" And I was like, yeah, that's fine, because my mom's sister is Helga and I love that name. So I was just like, okay. Yeah, sure. So that's how we distinguished each other. But then there was a third one that came that was called Guðrún too. And then things got like really complicated. So yeah, it's like kind of rough in Iceland about this kind of thing.
But there's some way, always the way to figure out like who's this Guðrún, this Guðrún, this Guðrún. Okay.
And I think in Iceland we have a lot of nicknames, right? We often give each other nicknames.
Yeah, that's also confusing
that's easy.
for me too.
Oh, I can admit it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? Confusing for foreigner, I feel like sometimes.
Yeah. So my like, I have a, for example, grandmother that's called Lolla. but her name is Guðrún. So for foreigners, that's confusing, right?
Yeah, because it doesn't sound
nothing similar. No. So that was common in the past. I think sometimes today, but like not as much.
Who decides the nickname? Though, like you can decide by yourself.
I think friends, maybe.
So you don't decide by yourself.
Not really. Like no.
Okay. No. That's also interesting. If you don't like it, you can say no.
Not really, because if that name sticks to you, then you just have to kind of go with it.
No. For example, well, yeah.
Yeah, I mean. Like I had a nickname in high school. I wasn't like great fan of it, but like I just went with it because you're a high school student and you just like
you accept it.
Yeah.
But like, isn't it funny? Like because you have your own name, you don't feel like why don't you call me
my name like that? I think it's like when you're a teenager, maybe you can have a nickname, and maybe you think your name is like old-fashioned or something, and you want to sound, like some people take up English names, right?
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. So it's something like that, maybe.
That's interesting. That's interesting. Wow. I'm not a big fan of nicknames, so that's why okay.
Yeah.
But like it's interesting perspective.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, me neither. I'm not so big fan, but yeah, you have no kind of control over it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also interesting, like people around you will decide or give suggestions.
Yeah. But I mean, of course, if I would say to my friends, like, you have to call me this from now on, they would. I'm not saying that that's, but it's...
Suddenly, like, you're gonna call them.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. But like, is there any you're living in Japan too?
Yeah.
Is there any like difficulties because you have a different family name with your son and your husband?
No. So I think that's because I'm so foreign. Do you know what I mean? I already look like an alien, like I'm just my name is so strange in Japan and so long, that there's no question asked. Do you know what I mean?
I'm sure like in katakana, I think maybe
it's terrible.
It's so long.
Terrible.
Maybe it doesn't.
It's terrible. So it's so long that sometimes I think like, I should just make it shorter, but I have a lot of pride in my name, so I just think like, I don't want to. But
can you make it shorter?
No, I can't. I mean, if I would just cut off my last name, no, I can't. I don't think I can. Yeah. No, but also in Japan, I have a middle name that's confusing as well.
That's true. Which one is your name? Yeah.
It was his first name is a middle, and then last name is just crazy long. It's like so long.
That's true. Okay.
So no, I haven't run into trouble so far. No.
Not a lot of questions asked to you?
No, I think they're shy. Maybe they don't want to ask.
They don't want to get into the troubles, like.
Yeah, I mean, people's name is very important, right?
Sure. Yeah. Important.
And maybe because my husband is not Japanese, so
I see.
It would be different, maybe.
Wow, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. Like just the name, it feels like, so many cultural differences too.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a lot of questions. But like, I mean, it's, because some other Nordic countries, people they have like something son.
Yeah, family names.
Family name.
Yeah,
right?
sure. Yeah.
It came from the same. How to say?
Yeah, like this.
It used to be
like same language family, right?
Okay.
I think that maybe we kept the tradition and they moved on, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So like I have a Danish family name in my family.
Oh.
From a long time ago, like somebody in the family took a Danish name because they were a lot in Denmark, and that time Denmark was maybe considered a little bit cool, and they picked something.
Okay.
But nobody.
Okay, but I'm curious, like, what is the difference between Icelandic name and Danish name?
That's hard for me to say, but I think they have family name now, right? They have family names, right?
They have family name,
yeah. So I think that's it. Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
Okay, true. That's it.
But you should still know that there are people in Iceland who have family names, like Eiður Smári Guðjónsson. Like that is a football player that used to be popular a few years ago.
Okay.
He has like a family name, right? And then it's just because maybe in the past somebody, from Denmark or something. Yeah, it's an ancient time, so you can have a family name, but people choose not to. Many, yeah.
So technically, you can choose. You could choose, or parent could choose you to have a family name or not.
If my partner has a family name. I can't just make up a new one. No. Or like the laws are quite strict. You have to like plead your case to the government, and so naming kids have to follow a certain law in Iceland.
Oh.
Yeah, so you can't just name them like watermelon or something. Do you know what I mean? It's very strict. So every year they you have to make application. Yeah.
Application.
Yeah.
That.
So when I had my son, I had to submit his name after he was born.
Yes.
I have to get it approved by the government.
How long does it take?
Not so long. If it's just like a regular Icelandic name and there's reason for them to have a family name, then it doesn't take too long, no.
So even if it's the common name, you need to submit and they need to approve.
Yeah. I hope I'm saying correct. Yeah, it was like that 5 years ago, at least. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
at least 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Maybe they changed it.
Yeah, maybe we don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting.
So that's very interesting. Yeah.
That's very different because in Japan, like you can put any kind of name.
Oh, really? On your kid?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
I think so. I'm not sure about it.
Okay. You'll find out one day.
I mean, okay. I think there are some rules, but I heard we call it kira name.
Ah, okay.
Have you ever heard that?
Yeah,
before?
right.
It's like,
for example, like
diamond.
Yeah.
Like something like that. Ruby or something like that.
Yeah, okay, that's cute.
I mean, kind of cute, but like,
yeah. So. Interesting. But yeah, I think this in Iceland is not so strong. So sometimes we discuss in class if we have time. For example, in Japan, it's very the family is like a big unit, right? It's like you belong to a family name, and the family name is very strong, and then heritage and stuff like that. I think it's very important. But I think today it's much more flexible maybe in Iceland. So people would because often people maybe divorce and they marry again, and the kids all live together, and they all have different family names, and that's totally fine. Do you know what I mean?
I see.
Yeah.